This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
It's precisely 6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Danushka Madhavala and read by Sharifa Tahir. Headlines. The first mega rally of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna will be held in Anuradhapura today. Providing compensation to the farmers who have faced cultivation drop during Maha season due to the use of organic fertilizers have commenced. The Health Minister says he is ready to provide solutions for the demands of the health trade unions after considering those demands. The Foreign Minister concludes a successful visit to India. Sri Lanka records more than 1,000 COVID cases for the 10th consecutive day. Central Bank of Sri Lanka launches the National Remittance mobile application. Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation initiates a program to provide 1,000 white canes for visually impaired persons. In foreign news, Macron says Putin pledges no new Ukraine escalation. And in sports news, Winter Olympics hit by deluge of complaints from athletes. We move on to local news in detail now. The first mega rally of the series of rallies of Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna will be held at Salgadu grounds in Anuradhapura at 2 p.m. today under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. Ministers, parliamentarians, former provincial councillors and local government representatives will also attend this mega rally. Minister S.M. Chandrasena said all necessary arrangements are made to conduct the mega rally with large gathering under health guidelines. The process of providing compensation to the farmers who have faced cultivation drop during the Maha season due to the use of organic fertilizers have commenced. A sum of 1,280 million rupees has been allocated for this purpose. The compensation also provided to other crops including green chili, big onions and potatoes. Around 40,000 farmers and cultivators were provided with the compensation based on the estimate made on the loss incurred. Health Minister Kehelia Rambukwala says he is ready to provide solutions for the demands of the health trade unions after considering those demands. Some of their demands can be fulfilled without delay, but some of them needs to be discussed and it takes time. It needs around 2 weeks to solve some issues. Some demands are required to be presented to the Cabinet of Ministers as well. The discussions held between Health Minister Kehelia Rambukwala and health trade unions yesterday have been unsuccessful. Therefore, the trade unions have decided to continue with their trade union action. 18 trade unions have joined the strike. A large number of patients have been severely inconvenienced due to the strike. Although doctors prescribe medicine for patients who sought treatment from clinics and outpatients department, pharmacists refrained from issuing drugs. As a result, there were long queues near pharmacies. It is reported about 65,000 health workers are taking part in the strike. Foreign Minister of Sri Lanka, Professor G.L. Piris, concluded a successful 2-day official visit to India. The Foreign Minister undertook this visit to New Delhi on an invitation extended by the External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar. During the visit, Foreign Minister Piris met with his counterpart Dr. Jaishankar and the National Security Advisor of India, Sri Ajit Doval. Observing that the relationship between India and Sri Lanka has evolved from a transactional relationship into a strategic partnership, Foreign Minister Piris stated that it is increasingly recognized by the people of Sri Lanka that India is a true friend whom Sri Lanka can rely on at all times. In this context, Minister Piris appreciated the financial assistance the government of India has extended to Sri Lanka to the tune of $2.4 billion at this critical juncture. Minister Jaishankar assured that the long-standing friendship between the two countries will always be a source of support to Sri Lanka. The bilateral talks focused on a wide range of matters of mutual interest, which included economic cooperation, power and energy cooperation, connectivity, people-to-people contact, etc. Focusing on the economic development in Sri Lanka, the discussion centered on the potential for Indian investments in priority sectors such as pharmaceuticals, food processing and manufacturing, for which Minister Peiris invited Indian investments. The ways and means to harness the growing Indian outward tourism to revive the tourism industry in Sri Lanka were also discussed, with a view to maintaining the momentum of the trajectory of the Indo-Sri Lanka relationship. The ministers agreed on the early finalization of several agreements and MOUs in the areas of defense, culture and education that are pending between the two countries. Minister Peiris extended an invitation to Minister Jaishankar to undertake an official visit to Sri Lanka in March this year. The meeting between Minister Peiris and National Security Advisor of India, Sri Ajit Doval, was held yesterday. The National Security Advisor of India and the Foreign Minister of Sri Lanka discussed a range of issues pertaining to the mutual strategic interests of the two countries. The status of the bilateral relationship was reviewed and priority areas for future cooperation were discussed. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation giving you the news.
Get extra 10 rupees for every dollar and receive a refund of transaction fees up to rupees 1,000 when depositing funds to a rupee account from People's Bank.
Continuing with more stories here at home, the Ministry of Health says that another 1,253 persons have tested positive for the novel coronavirus yesterday. Sri Lanka's tally of COVID-19 cases confirmed in the country thereby climbed to 621,985. This is the 10th consecutive day Sri Lanka recorded more than 1,000 daily cases of COVID-19. Meanwhile, the Director General of Health Services has confirmed 35 new coronavirus-related fatalities for February 7th, moving the death toll in the country from the virus to 15,656. Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation initiates a program to provide 1,000 white canes for visually impaired persons. The program commences today under the patronage of Media Minister Dallas Alahaperuma. This initiative will be held with the support of the listeners of the Kannadiya program of SLBC. Well, that's local news for the moment.
Get extra 10 rupees for every dollar and receive a refund of transaction fees up to rupees 1,000 when depositing funds to a rupee account from People's Bank. These offers are valid until 30th April.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The government has decided to prioritize the implementation of a unitary digital identity framework. Under the proposed unitary digital identity framework, it is expected to introduce a personal identity verification device based on biometric data, a digital tool that can represent the identities of individuals in cyberspace, and the identification of individual identities that can be accurately verified in digital and physical environments.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And on Watchlight, health authorities have requested the public to follow health guidelines strictly as the corona infections crossed 1,000 mark for the 7th consecutive day. This cannot be taken easy, the health authorities warned. Director General of the Health Services, Dr. Asila Gunawardena, said that it is a high risk for the public to get involved with large gatherings or get-togethers. Therefore, he emphasized that the pandemic can spread rapidly again if the public acts irresponsibly. That's on Watchlight. We move on to world news now. World News headlines. Macron says Putin pledges no new Ukraine escalation. Arrests as police warn of volatile Canada trucker protesters. Homes engulfed as deadly landslide hits Colombia. We move on to world news in detail now. French President Emmanuel Macron has told reporters that President Vladimir Putin assured him that Russian forces would not ramp up the crisis near Ukraine's borders. I secured an assurance there would be no deterioration or escalation, unquote, he said before meeting Ukraine's leader. However, Russia said any suggestion of a guarantee was not right. Russia has denied any plans to invade Ukraine, but it has assembled more than 100,000 troops near its borders. U.S. officials believe Russia has assembled 70% of military forces needed for a full-scale invasion. Ottawa police have warned that volatile and determined protesters remain in Canada's capital after nearly 2 weeks of a trucker-led anti-vaccine mandate protest. Ottawa is under a state of emergency as police have tried to contain the chaos. Up to a quarter of so-called Freedom Convoy vehicles have children in them who could be at risk during operations, authorities said on Tuesday. Nearly 80 criminal investigations have been opened relating to the protests. Some 24 arrests have been made so far. Finally, on world news, a landslide triggered by heavy rains has killed at least 11 people in central Colombia, officials say. Another 35 people were now in hospital after several homes were engulfed in the Dos Quebradas municipality, Risaralda province on Tuesday. The officials issued a photo showing a gash in the lush foliage covering a mountain overlooking the area. Other residents living close to a swollen river nearby have been moved to safety. Rescue teams have been searching in the mud for more survivors, Colombia's disaster management officials said. And that came to you on World News.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take all out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
The Cabinet of Ministers on Monday gave the approval to sign a memorandum of understanding with India to secure a grant to execute the Unitary Digital Identity Framework in Sri Lanka. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has tabled the relevant proposal in the Cabinet meeting in his capacity as the Minister of Technology.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928. Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
In sports news, athletes have been hitting out at Olympic organizers with complaints about freezing conditions and quarantine rules pouring in. Beijing kicked off the Winter Games 4 days ago, promising it would be streamlined, safe and splendid. Some have lauded China's efforts to ensure relatively virus-free games, but some participants say they're living and training in dismal conditions, prompting them to lobby organizers for improvements. That's on sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka initiated a national remittance mobile application branded as Lanka Remit. The national remittance mobile application Lanka Remit was launched yesterday by Minister Namal Rajapaksa. The Lanka Remit national remittance mobile application provides Sri Lankans working abroad direct access to the existing remittance channels, as well as facilitate their ability to choose more convenient and cost-effective remittance channels to send money to Sri Lanka.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
And on economic news, Uzbekistan Airways, the flag carrier airline of Uzbekistan, will commence operations at the Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport from today. The airline will operate a weekly flight between Uzbekistan and Mattala every Wednesday starting today. Airport and Aviation Services Sri Lanka Private Limited met with the airline at the Air Service World Congress 2021 Forum held in Dubai last December and had extensive discussions with Uzbekistan Airways, and as a result, the airline will start operations at Matala Rajapaksa International Airport. That's on economic news, and before we wind up, let's have a quick look at the weather update. Cloudy skies will prevail over northern and eastern provinces. Several spells of showers will occur in northern, north central, eastern and over provinces and in the Hambantota and Matale districts. Showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in western and Sabaragamu provinces and in Galle and Matara districts during the evening or night. General public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. Back to the headlines. The first mega rally of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna will be held in Anuradhapura today, providing compensation to the farmers who have faced cultivation drop during Maha season due to the organic fertilizers has commenced. The health minister says he is ready to provide solutions for the demands of the health trade unions after considering those demands. The foreign minister concludes successful visit to India. Sri Lanka records more than 1,000 COVID cases for the 10th consecutive day. Central Bank of Sri Lanka launches the National Remittance mobile application. Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation initiates a program to provide 1,000 white canes for visually impaired persons. And in foreign news, Macron says Putin pledges no new Ukraine escalation. And in sports, Winter Olympics hit by deluge of complaints from athletes. With that, we conclude the morning bulletin of news.